What's up, guys? So this video is late, and I know it is, but literally I have been trying to figure a few things out. And you know, like I said in the title and in my posts on my other social media platforms, is that this is for my spiritual beings. Like, everybody is not going to resonate with this, and I completely understand. Like, you know, we're at a point where people think that the spiritual community is a little crazy. So, you know, I completely understand if that's what you guys believe and this is not for you. You can go ahead and click off this video. I completely understand. But for those that feel me, please stay and listen. But, you know, first of all, you know, I was talking about the retrogrades, and let me say this. I am not an expert in any of this. You know, when I started my spiritual journey, like, if anybody knows about the 11:11 awakening, like, I literally went through that and did not know what I was going through. Like, excuse me, did not even know it was a thing until I went through it. Like, hadn't heard about it. The only thing I had heard about 11:11 was when you see it on the clock, make a wish type deal. But I really was not, you know, into these things. Like, I wasn't into crystals. I wasn't into anything. I was actually, my grandfather's a pastor, and, you know, grew up in the church, in a traditional Christian Baptist church and traditional Christian Baptist household. And, you know, going to church and trying to keep my son in church on the regular, it just started to feel different. You know, it wasn't the place for me to be. It just felt like it was something missing and that there was more to it. And I've always been like a logical person, you know, like, if something doesn't really make sense to me, I start to ask questions. And, you know, I was always the one to kind of go to the pastor like, well, could you tell me this? Or why doesn't this make sense? And I visit, you know, churches of many denominations. I never kind of believed in that, even though I was raised Baptist. I've never really believed in the denominations. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would God want us to be separated but believe in the same God? It just always seemed weird to me, you know, and why certain different groups were like at each other, you know, at each other's throats, like, you're wrong. Like, it just never made sense to me. So, you know, I would visit churches. I didn't like to join churches. I'd like to visit churches and listen to what, you know, other pastors had to say, commune with other congregations, and, you know, just learn about each other's beliefs. And I've always been like that. So I think that, like, slowly but surely, God was preparing me for this spiritual journey. And so you'll hear me quite often refer to spirituality on this channel. Again, if it doesn't resonate with you, I'm okay with that. I'm also not one of those people that forces my beliefs on people. You know, sometimes I'll speak on it and there may be somebody that resonates with it that need, you know, some more insight. And so we will connect on that. But it's really not my thing to go around preaching about spirituality or, you know, really trying to force my beliefs on anyone. With that being said, this particular video, because there's so much we can talk about in terms of spirituality, this particular video is talking about the retrograde that just happened. So I think there were like 9 planets or 8 and a comet, which is Chiron, who acts like a planet, in retrograde, and which was crazy within itself. And I'm going to put a link down below to somebody that I watch all the time, and her name is the Spirit Doula. I've mentioned her in another video, but she breaks this thing down in a way that anybody can understand. She's also somebody that doesn't teach from just one book. She's very like spiritual, but also she's a professor. So she teaches in a way that's really hard to deny. You know, science will back up the things that she's teaching and trying to explain. And so sometimes, you know, I think people are like, retrograde planets, oh my God, you're a weirdo. But then we know that the moon controls the ocean tides. We know that. And we're what, 90% water or whatever it is, 80-90%. And so it's like everybody knows, well, not everybody, but, you know, a lot of people will acknowledge that, you know, the moon will link up with a woman's cycle, you know. So these things we acknowledge. But when it comes to like the planets, it's like, that has nothing to do with us. Like, that's some hocus pocus, whatever. And it's like, no, honestly, I think it's healthy for us to sort of look into these things, because I think it keeps a lot of people from going crazy. You know, like this past retrograde was a doozy. I mean, one thing after another, y'all. And like, not just me. My son called me going nuts. Like, he felt like his whole life was spiraling out of control. It was just one thing after another. And I won't go into everything that he went through, but it was just my mom and dad were calling me like, what is going on? It feels like we're being attacked. It feels like, and I know we weren't the only ones, because all of my, spiritual friends online were saying the same things, and which is why Spirit Doula did this video to sort of break down the energy. And I think that protects our mental health sometimes. Like, if we know that this is something that is, happening planetarily and, as a collective, then we can sort of like get through those moments a little bit easier. Like, we're not going crazy or blaming ourselves or feeling like somebody else is sending us bad energy or whatever. It's just what's going on. And honestly, like, one of the things that, her name is Melanie, but the name of her channel is the Spirit Doula. But one of the things Melanie always says is that she likes the energy of the retrogrades because truth is revealed. And it's a way to kind of make you pause sometimes. And it's almost like ripping off a Band-Aid, where it's not pleasant, but it's necessary. And, I think it sort of helped me get through it, because when you realize that, it's like, let me stop trying to fix it and just sit back and go with the flow of this energy. And I want to say it might have been like the 10th through the 25th. Don't quote me on that, because again, I don't really know. And sometimes I'm not even up on the planets or what's going on astrologically. I just know what's going on with me. And then I have to go back in and check in, and I'm like, oh, that's why all of this. That's why. And so again, it protects my mental health. It keeps me from blaming myself. And then it makes you feel better when you see, other people are going through the same things. And so I believe it was around that time. I think the energy sort of lingered a little while longer, and then it's just now ending. But today is the 3rd. So I think the lingering energy starts to end today. I'm not sure. Or yesterday. Look, I don't know. I just know what's going on with me. And I do know that this was going on. The retrogrades were happening. Just the exact times and dates of them starting and ending, I'm not really sure on. But literally, life just started getting crazy around the same time that the whole retrograde started. And I think it was last weekend when I started my channel. And I was planning on uploading like crazy that weekend. I was already filming, but I was trying to upload and everything. And before I really knew what exactly was going on, it was when things started going crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, like everything I'm trying to do. Like, I posted a video of a clip of what was going on during the retrograde while I was trying to film as a joke. But literally, that was just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, cameras were falling over. Like, my juicer, just like the first time I did a juicing video and I had chopped up all these vegetables, and as soon as I go to click it, it just didn't come on. Didn't work. And I was like, oh my God, I just bragged about getting this juicer for $7 at Dirt Cheap and having it for 4 years, and I just click it on camera and it doesn't work. What? So I had to stop that video and like go back in and do something different with that, because it started working later. But what I found out too, and it was a random video that popped up, was that I didn't need to start anything. I didn't need to upload anything that weekend, because it just wasn't good timing. And so, that person was just like, during this time, just don't necessarily start anything. Just sit back, be easy, do good deeds, meditate, pray, and then prepare yourself to start something after the energy has subsided a little bit, which was, I think, that Sunday. So it was like the 10th through the 25th. It was kind of like, advised to not start anything, not do anything, which again, I wasn't really paying that much attention. As spiritual as I am, I'm not obsessed to the point where every day I'm like checking, the planets and the stars and letting that dictate my movements in life. I'm not quite like that. And so I wasn't really on it. I was just doing my thing. My internet went out. I was out. I didn't have the internet for like 4 days because I couldn't get an appointment with the internet company until then. So I literally was like, everything runs on the internet in my house, even my television. So good thing I got DVDs in here. That is why I keep so many DVDs, because when the internet or something goes out, or power, well, power goes out, it doesn't matter. But, it's a lifesaver sometimes. You'll watch anything when you don't have TV. And I couldn't do much work because I didn't have the internet. So I was really forced to just sit down. And that will happen sometimes too. When God or Spirit wants to sit you down and have you reflect, things like that will happen. Sometimes even when you get sick, it's because you were being hard-headed and you wouldn't sit down. And it might not be like terminal illness or anything like terrible like that. Just, under the weather, had caught the flu all of a sudden, whatever. But it's during a time when you might need to sit down and reflect, and you won't do it otherwise. So God will sit you down sometimes. And so I think that was one of those moments where, God was like, just pause. There were also a lot of things going on emotionally with me that I really wasn't trying to admit to or really deal with. I was just like, let me just keep pushing. Let me keep going. And the bizarre part of this story is what I have not really gotten to yet. This is what's weird to me. Like, okay, so truth is revealed during these times, right? And so months and months and months ago, I had this dream. About my ex. And I did not understand this dream. So anybody that's on here that might have followed my old channel, LT and DC, that was me and my ex-boyfriend's channel. And we have not posted videos on that channel in I think probably a year or so, maybe a little bit more than that. But we haven't been together since maybe like the end of January, something like that, beginning of February, I can't remember. But I was feeling in my soul, and again, getting into why we broke up and what happened there. I put a video up on LT and DC that was like, look, if you guys really want to know, we can go live. We can do that so you guys can ask questions interactively. But I'm not forcing that here because I don't even know if anybody cares enough to hear that story. But again, if you guys are, I'm going to save those parts of the story for if we happen to do a live. So I won't get into why we broke up or what happened or anything like that. But long story short, we had broken up, and I had this crazy dream about, him really, really like going in, talking so much craziness about me to my son's father's daughter, which was crazy. Like, mind you, my son is 19. It's been, I don't know, double-digit years since he and I have been together. So he's not a factor. Let's be clear about that. It's not a factor, my son's father. But so that's what made it more strange for me, And so he was talking so much junk to his daughter, my son's father's daughter. And I won't say her name because I don't want you guys to necessarily think I'm trying to like just throw somebody under the table here, nothing like that. If you guys are that interested, you'll go figure it out. But listen, this is just for basically the purpose of me telling this story and the energy of the planets and how that worked out for me. And when I say truth is revealed, it was proven to me during this time. So I have this dream. He's talking so much junk. And my son was younger in this dream, so he shows up in the dream, and the most recent ex, DC, was like being mean to him in the dream, was being so mean to him, and he was saying so many mean things about me to my son's father's daughter in this dream. And I was like, what is that about? And it was one of those dreams, and I know we have crazy dreams that don't make any sense, but this was one that kind of stuck with me. Like, I was talking to my cousin about it because she's like, my spiritual twin, and we were both trying to figure it out. And we were just like, look, I don't know what that means. And I know every dream doesn't mean anything sometimes, like I said, but you know when they do, and when it's something that you can't get off your mind. And then also when you wake up with such emotion on your chest about it, it's something to it a lot of times. And so I was trying to figure it out. I was like, what does this mean? Sorry, I got hair all in this thing. What does this mean? And why am I having this dream? And why is it making me feel this way? Like, why is it sticking with me the way that it is? And so I let it go for a while. And again, this is months ago. So fast forward to this retrograde. basically, he revealed his new relationship on social media. The girl that he is with has the same name as my son's father's daughter. Yep, take a second in case you were lost. Let's go back one more time. So in the dream, my most recent ex, not my son's father, was really going in, basically slandering my name to my son's father's daughter. Okay? And so, I'll say my son's father. My son's father's name is Calvin. So Calvin's daughter was in this dream, and DC was talking so much junk to her about me, to the point where I felt so bad. It was the most slanderous, most nasty, most horrible things. And I woke up feeling some kind of way, and it stuck with me for a while. Months later, in real life, he displays this new relationship, and the new girl has the same name as Calvin's daughter. So, in my mind, it was God revealing everything to me. It was the closure that I needed. Not that we were trying to be back together or anything, but we spent 4 years in a relationship. And so there was so much time and energy invested in that relationship that I honestly probably needed that full closure to know that there was no reconciliation. And it's a weird place, because I really didn't, in my heart, think that there was going to be, because we're really not good for each other, for a number of reasons. But I think also, too, there was a friendship that we built. We did our YouTube channel together, and you guys saw us on there, and that was real. Like, we were definitely the best of friends. And now it sort of seems like, that all of that meant nothing. And, where I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, probably shouldn't have. But it was God just saying, you know what, just let it go. This is not what you thought it was. And for me, I could have moved on by now too, but I really I don't move fast like that. I don't. Being in a relationship for 4 years is like, that's a lot of time and energy. And I think I respect that time more enough to just sort of make sure and let things breathe and allow myself to heal. Prior to DC, I was single for 13 years by choice. Let's say that, by choice. I was literally single for 13 years. Like, my son has never seen me with anybody else other than his father before DC. And I was busy being a single mom, though. I was one of those women that were like, look, I'm not bringing anybody around my son. I'm not leaving my son with anybody. I just got so involved and so, like, enthralled, basically, in being a mom. Like, it was all about my son. He was playing football. He was doing everything. We had our dogs at the same time. And it was just, I lived with my parents for a while, and they did help me raise my son. But then we moved to Texas on our own, and it was just all on me, and I struggled. There was a lot of things that I went through, but half the time it was car trouble, or, just trying to keep up with bills and trying to build my business. And I couldn't find time to date. I ain't gonna lie. And I was like, if there was somebody that God wanted me to be with, I'm not saying he'll come show up on my door, but I think circumstances will work themselves out when it's time. And I honestly didn't feel deprived or anything. I don't regret that by any means. I don't feel like I wasted my life or anything like that. I have an incredible son who loves his mother to death. And he's so appreciative for me being there and being the mom that I was to him. So I have no regrets, none whatsoever. But I did get to the point where I was like, okay, I gotta get a life, he's gonna grow up and have his own thing, and I gotta start putting myself out there. And so that's when I met DC. We started our relationship. I moved here to Atlanta, not for the relationship. I had already planned on moving to Atlanta, but I didn't want to move without knowing anybody here. And, he was my one. He was the one that we were together like pretty much all the time for 4 years. And then our relationship ended and he disappeared, kind of like, no call, no check-in, no how you doing, not really nothing. But anyway, that's beside the point. But back to the retrograde, this is the reason why I say, you guys don't dismiss this energy. Like, literally, truth was revealed to me, like, in the realest way. And I'm talking about the details of what has been going on these past few months, the things that I made excuses for, the things that I was like, it's not that, it's got to be this, whatever. I'm close to his family as well. So I just really didn't want to accept that maybe that's what was going on is what was going on. And again, it's not about him moving on, but sometimes it's like our friendship, I felt like, meant more than what it did. And so I needed to know the truth. Let's just say that I needed to know the truth so that I could fully wrap my mind around just completely moving on and finding what's best for me. I deserve more. I deserve, and I'm happy for him as well. He can hope he's happy and enjoying his life. But right is right and wrong is wrong, and there's a way to do things. So at the end of the day, I needed to know the truth about everything, and God did reveal that truth to me. And I needed to sit still for a minute, and really reflect. And it's sort of like it put everything in perspective in a way where it's like I have a new spark of energy and, just a new outlook on everything. But, there are times, like I said, when you have to sort of look at your life and look how it's going and look at what's going on in the planets, look at, what's going on in your community and the people that are around you. And so to just stop and not blame yourself. It's just life, it is what it is. But these are the things that are better for you in the end, because whatever lesson you're learning during that time is just for your, it's definitely for your own good. And if you can accept that and really sit down and meditate and reflect and, just get the messages and the downloads, like I like to say, that you are supposed to receive, it'll all make sense and it's all for the better. But yeah, that dream was crazy. And I really have been having a lot of that lately. Like, I don't know if I have a sixth sense. I didn't think I did before, but it's so crazy how things are just sort of happening that way for me. Oh, and I almost forgot this one last thing. So I had this crazy dream this past Saturday. Again, another dream. And there's some things happening in this dream, right, that are strange to me, like dragons and snakes and somebody taming these dragons and snakes. And it was a woman, and I wasn't sure what was going on, right? But it wasn't scary. It was sort of like comical, almost kind of cartoony, like the snakes and the dragon. It looked like a snake and a dragon almost in one. But she was kind of like taming them, tapping them on the nose and just doing stuff like that, right? And I was just like, what is she doing? Like, what is happening over here? And then it became like in the dream where I love animals, right? So I got comfortable with the situation. I was like, well, you know what? They're kind of cute. That'd be cute to have over in the corner, like I was like in my yard or something with this elaborate garden. I was like, they would be cute to have in the corner. Like, people come over, like over there in the garden, they see them, they're going to trip out, right? This is kind of how the dream ended. I can't even remember all the details. Long story short, I go to the farmer's market in real life the next day, and I'm picking up a few items, and I'm over in the spiritual section, and they have a spiritual section, and I'm like, okay, I need some candles. I need to see what they got over here, because I pretty much keep an altar lit for one reason or another. And sometimes it's just to honor my ancestors. Sometimes, it might be some spiritual work I'm doing for myself or something like that. And so, I have been doing some road opener candles and stuff lately. And so I was looking in that section and I saw one that I hadn't seen before. And I was like, oh, this is a road opener too? Oh, okay, maybe I'll try this one. It was green and it had like love, money, success, business, all that stuff on it, right? So, and I remember picking this candle up. Like, I have a photographic memory. So I picked this candle up and I know I put it in my basket. It was that one and the Archangel Michael candle, right? I get home and unload everything. It is not the same candle that I bought in that bag. Like, literally, I was tripping. I was on the phone with my brother and I was like, yo, this threw me off. Like, I did not buy this candle though. Where did this candle come from? But I'm still like, okay, I'm a little scattered these days. Let me make sure I didn't just pick this up by mistake. I will not get into who the saint was on this candle. But when I tell you, I looked up the story and it is dead on with the dream I had. So I will tell you, When spirit wants to work with you, when there is an ancestor or a deity or something that wants to work with you, they will show up. And I am not one of those people that just goes and like, oh, Oshun sounds good. Beyonce doing Oshun, let's all do Oshun. Like, no, you don't do things like that, I believe, because I feel like you got to be a little bit more easy with it. You know, just because it sounds good does not mean it's for you. And those things can backfire. So I believe that you should always use precaution when trying to petition spirits or trying to set altars. Like, don't just be going to and doing this thing willy-nilly. Like, I have been called upon. Let's say it like that. I have not called out to anything that was not revealed to me first. That didn't come into my path first. And so that is a separate video, though. I will get into who the saint was. I will get into all the details of that story. But basically, this saint shows up when you are having a difficult time. You know, when you need justice and when you need just everything in your life to just go the right way again. And, you know, it is a female saint. Again, listening to my story about my dream, you might be able to figure out who I'm talking about. But literally in this country, she's not even that popular. I've never heard of her before I picked up this candle. The back of the candle is all in Spanish. Like, I don't even know, you know, I didn't even know who she was. And then I read this story. It's crazy. It is crazy how literally she showed up for me. And that is the candle I'm supposed to burn. That is going to be another video for sure. But this is after truth is revealed. It's like, this is what it is, but I'm giving you the solution as well. So don't panic. Don't worry. It's all okay. Like, everything is aligned the way it's supposed to be. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. And that will help you get through the most difficult times in your life. And whether it's you praying to God or Jesus or whatever it is, and hugging trees, grabbing your crystals, whatever you need to do, but you make sure you connect to the divine and do not feel like you are alone throughout this thing. You know, everything is a part of the plan. It's going to be okay. It's not easy, which is why it's helpful to have your spiritual community or your friends or your family or whoever just having your back. The ones that really love you, the ones that are really there for you, that have been there for you, because it's going to be okay. And God has it all worked out. Trust me. So if you guys want to hear more about this candle and which saint that was and all that good stuff and get more into detail about all of that, we can do that as well. But I just wanted to tell you because it was like, yeah, the craziness happened, but there was also a solution, and I'm very optimistic about my future. It's about to be lit. There are a couple stories I'm gonna tell you guys on some story times, but I don't, you know, this has to do with specifically the retrograde, and so I want to keep this video pointed at that. And this is not a video to bash my ex or anything either. I really just wanted to tell you guys this story. And tell you to, like, this some real ish. Whether you believe it or not, you don't have to. Truth is truth. And, you know, however you connect is okay as well. You know, I think that sometimes, you know, it's all about frequency and energy. You can be pretty much on the same energy or same frequency as somebody spiritual or somebody that's into something slightly different as you and have the end result. So I think it's all about respecting each other's beliefs, not being weirded out by everything, and, you know, and not forcing your beliefs on other people. So, you know, it goes both ways, whether you're spiritual, religious, whatever. We all need to respect each other's beliefs because I think we can all learn something from each other for sure. And another thing too, like, you guys, if you don't know, this is also, this has been going on, I think, before the retrograde. Again, go to Melanie's page, and I think she breaks down the time frame. The Northern Lights are here in the United States. Like, the lights, what is the I can't say it. The Aureolus Borealis. How you say it? Okay, that ain't right. But the Northern Lights is what we know, right? Everybody used to go to Alaska to see them, right? I've always wanted to go because they're beautiful. And I have never seen them in person. My dad has, and they're gorgeous. But they're here in the United States. Like, you can go to certain state parks and see the Northern Lights. Why that's not in the news is weird to me. Why we're not talking about that? Why is it? Or why aren't people posting it? I think it was in like Iowa or Michigan or something. You guys can look it up. Just Google it. And literally, you can see the Northern Lights in the United States right now. And, you know, spiritually, we're like, that's an energy. You know, we feel like that has more to do with, you know, an energetic thing that we need to be tapping into, you know, and I won't even go into that because I'm not an expert. I know what I know, but we'll talk about what energy and what that means maybe later if you guys want to. But again, I'm always kind of referring to other people to get the facts because I'm still learning on this journey. Also, too, if you guys want to hear the story of my 11/11 awakening and seeing how maybe, you know, that might compare to yours. If you had the same experience, we can do that video as well. That'll be another video. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys, like, this was a weird time, in a way that it was, and it felt weirder than even how it sounds, but literally, like, you know, a lot of things, you know, became apparent. Truth was revealed, things that I needed to know. Resets happened within my own household for the good. You know, and again, I relaunched my product again. We're taking pre-orders for grease bags, and that was like a uphill battle, you know. So it's like good things happening personally, otherwise. But then, you know, there was that kind of, you know, tug of war. Like I don't know. Like on one hand, you're happy about this and you're excited, and then this thing happens to sort of bring you down. You're trying to stay up, and so I kind of had a lot of that yin and yang, I guess, energy going on, but it was all good. It was all good. I just kind of had to take a minute, pause. Again, not having the internet and different things like that just forced me to be still, to pray more, to meditate more. Things became more clear. So don't go crazy when, you know, things are happening. Just take a minute and pause. And even if it hurts a little bit, even if it's a little sad, it's for your own good. It is so that you can be better. And so that you can open up yourself to better things, you know, and maybe you need to heal your chakras. Maybe you need to reflect on yourself and say, well, how can I be better? Like, what is it that I need to work on? And it's all good. It's all good. But I just want to tell you guys that story. Yeah, again, if you guys want to hear more about some of my spiritual experiences, like there are a few that are like, what? You can't deny. You cannot deny it. So that's why nobody will ever be able to make me deny what I feel and what I've been going through or my experiences. But I appreciate you guys for listening. And yeah, comment below if you guys want to hear more about my spiritual experiences, like I said. Or if you want to do this live so we can talk more about relationship stuff. Like, I think that's a big discussion that we should have, but not necessarily just about my relationship, just about relationships in general. Because I will say this, a lot of our back and forth was our different beliefs on where men and women should be and their roles in a relationship and different things like that. So I'm curious as to see what the collective thinks about these things as well. Like, you know, you think I was wrong or what, you know, whatever. So it's like I said, it's not to just bash our relationship, but I think, you know, it's healthy to kind of come together and get advice from each other, men and women alike. Like, I'm always asking, what do you think? Because I don't want to be stuck in my own head, you know? Nothing worse than being loud and wrong. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to hold you guys too long today. I actually have a meeting with Amazon in a few. But I love you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Let's get those subscribers up to 1,000 so I can go live anywhere I am with you guys. Because you never know what I'm up to and what I'm doing. And sometimes I just want to turn on the camera. But I will try to keep this as consistent as possible until then. And I'll see you guys next time.